You're listening to the Decentralized Talk Podcast, your crypto connection.
Decentralized Talk. Decentralized Talk.
All right, guys. Welcome to another outstanding episode of the Decentralized Talk Podcast. This is our 12th weekly show now in production, and we got a great one in store for you today. We're taking a step back out there for the newbies when we cover trading basics. That's going to be technical analysis, chart types, and trends. And it's going to be on a very top-line level. We got notable picks like Funfair, Decent Bet, and No Limit Coin with the 3-on-3 fast break. And we are expanding on the gambling trend and doing things a little bit differently this week with our coin focus on the gambling token genre. As always, guys, we want to follow up on who's winning the 2018 Coin of the Week and how our best crypto guesses are panning out. Decent. Nothing here is investing advice. This is just our opinions. Please do your own research when investing in cryptocurrencies. All right, guys, a lot of people came into cryptos for a revolution in their kind of personal banking, right? A revolution for blockchain technology and government. And so a lot of people have run into a situation where they've discovered a usefulness for learning technical analysis as they follow the key indicators on these coins, something that they probably would have otherwise never needed. So as we get back to the basics today and we start talking about technical analysis, I want to also thank Jeff Lemmons for coming on the program today. He is a person who has been part of the Decentralized Talk podcast for quite some time, really from the beginning. And we're happy to have him on board to help us kind of have this technical analysis conversation today. So, Prater, if you want, start off and just give me an overview very broadly, very basically for those folks who may have got into cryptocurrency for the right reasons and are now in for the money reasons. What is technical analysis?
So basically a top level overview of what technical analysis is. It's just taking the charts and the history of the charts to anticipate what's going to happen with the charts in the future. So take a look at what has happened in the past, find trends in the past and use that to kind of guess basically what that is going to do in the future with the coin, security, or whatever. And commonly there's different indicators that'll show you, okay, this has happened in the past, so this could possibly repeat in the future. And a lot of people use technical analysis, especially in the crypto markets, to kind of gauge what's going to happen. And I believe a lot of people should, at least have a baseline knowledge of this if they're going to trade, or even if you're going to hodl, so then you can at least see, okay, over the next few months, the trend for this coin looks like it could be in a downtrend. So I don't want to be looking at my wallet and seeing it just dwindling down and not kind of know what's going on. It's helpful for everybody to kind of know at least the basis of technical analysis.
Yeah, I think we got a mixture of listeners out there. Some are day traders, some are long-term hodlers. Some people, some of you out there might think, I don't need any technical analysis skills. I'm going to buy and hold for 10 years. So why would I need to know anything about technical analysis? And maybe you don't if you're going to be one of those super long-term hodlers. But the way I see it, just like Batman has his utility belt, he probably could have been successful without his batarang or his grappling hook, but it sure helped him a lot, and he was a lot more successful with those tools in his belt. So technical analysis is just one tool for your belt that can help you when it comes to investing.
Just to kind of further what you guys have already said, when I think of technical analysis, and just to kind of give you for those of you that are hearing me for the first time, my name is Jeff Lemmons. And so I've been trading options for a long time. I wouldn't say I'm the best at it, but I've had some success. When I think of technical analysis, I think basically, very simply, technical analysis is human emotion represented graphically, right? Because humans are what are driving price. to one level or another, whether it be whales that are trading billions of dollars or whether it be, small time investors that are trading a couple $100. It's basically them pushing the price to a different level. So technical analysis to me is basically trying to see what the price is doing and trying to predict what it's going to do in the future. And what's painted on the chart is the human emotion.
Psychology of the market.
Yeah.
So do you guys find any one specific, people here, you throw around terms of Bollinger Bands. Am I even saying that right? I've never heard it said, or I guess I should say I've heard it said. Is it Bollinger? Is it Bollinger?
I've always called it Bollinger Bands.
Bollinger Bands. So people look at the Bollinger Bands. People are identifying different changes in the volume. People are looking for pennants, for flags. People are looking for curves. Things are mooning. All this terminology gets pretty crazy. And one of the most basic things that you can look for in technical analysis, in my understanding, is somebody who's trading on technicals versus somebody who's trading on fundamentals. Can y'all speak to kind of what is the difference there?
Sure. Well, fundamentals are going to be tough in a crypto market. I mean, to an extent. When you talked about fundamentals, you're basically talking. One of the key things in fundamentals is the financial health of the company, and a lot of these crypto companies aren't putting out a income statement, so you're not going to know how what their income is versus their expenditures and all that stuff. So fundamentals are always going to be tough in a crypto market, other than just the news, government policies, and that kind of information that comes out. You can always kind of read into that and use that as on the fundamental side. And I mean, most of the time you're going to want to be informed on that kind of stuff. But honestly, for a trader in the crypto market, I think technical analysis is going to be huge versus fundamentals. That's just my opinion. So I could be completely wrong. Although I don't think I'm completely wrong about the income statement.
I totally agree. I totally agree with you. I think in the crypto market, technical analysis is more important than fundamental analysis, just because this asset class is so new. It's kind of hard to do fundamental analysis on it. It's not impossible, but it's harder than in traditional market.
Fundamental analysis is so limited in the crypto market. Really, your fundamental analysis comes down to basic things like, is this team working on this coin, or are they kind of just giving a 2% effort on it? Are they really committing the time to it? And those things are kind of, to me, maybe subjective. Maybe one day they're working on it, the next day they're doing some other project. So it's hard to do fundamental analysis, which is why I think you see a lot more of the technical analysis. And if you look at things like TradingView, you see all these people that are posting, Elliott wave theory and analysis using different indicators.
So if you guys see a coin that has good fundamentals, right? So you see a good team behind it. They're pumping out tweets, often enough that it makes you feel comfortable that they're spending time growing the coin. Is that something that's going to make it more attractive to you, or do you still, or do you use them? So is it truly a fundamentals versus technicals, or is it, or are they used in tandem?
I think you want to use all of the information at your fingertips. Even though the fundamentals are limited, you want to use any and all information you can find when you're doing your research.
Can I propose a question?
No.
No,
absolutely.
Let's expand on that particular topic. Let's think about some other fundamentals, because I think people that hear this conversation would probably like to know what are some other potential fundamental analysis that they could do, because it's very difficult in the crypto space. Other than looking at the team, looking at what they've done, is there anything that's in stone that you could say this makes this coin, something great, or they're on the right track to do something great?
One thing I would say is take Ethereum. Fundamentals for Ethereum that you might look at is look at all the apps that are being built on their platform.
Right.
I mean, that's kind of a fundamental analysis of Ethereum. They have quite a large base of applications that are being currently built on their platform, which makes a pretty large use case for them in the future. If just to hopefully or possibly drive the price up on Ethereum. other than that, governmental stuff. Obviously, you don't want to buy Petrocoin because Trump just outlawed it. That's a pretty hardcore fundamental right there.
Right?
One thing I look at is there a use case for this cryptocurrency? Ethereum definitely has a use case. Smart contracts, they can be used by a lot of people, and we see that happening. Now if a coin comes out and I'm like, who would ever use that, and why would you need blockchain to make this? I'm usually going to just skip by that coin.
Well, so I think that every coin does its best effort to sell a use case to the public, right? Their website, whether it's terrible or, because we've seen plenty of terrible websites in the crypto space or not. So what are some of the best, when we're talking fundamentals, what are some of the best fundamentals to look for? Is it the expandability of the platform, like in Ethereum, or are you looking more at the people involved, or is it some kind of combination therein?
I think it's always going to be a combination of everything. And, you keep talking about what it sounds like the marketing team basically tweets information that's put out. That's always going to be a good one, especially for the basically just currency coins, because they don't really have much to offer other than just the use of transferring funds across their platform. So, one big thing for them is going to be their marketing team. Can they market it out there and get used by more people and, just drive their use of it?
Yeah. So you're saying you have to basically evaluate every individual currency on their own, but I just mean broadly, like, just for somebody out there, again, we're talking about newbies who doesn't understand even just the term fundamentals. When you say fundamentals, so we talk about fundamentals in football, talking about being able to catch, throw, pass. When we're talking about the fundamentals specifically, what are we talking about?
For most companies, the fundamentals are their income statements, their balance sheets, their cash flows, but we're not seeing that yet with the cryptos. Maybe in the future we will, I would imagine. The ones that separate themselves or want to take the next step, I'm sure they would make that information public record. But that's what I think about when I think about fundamentals.
Just the news, just kind of government policies, all that stuff. And, that's one big thing that's been in the news lately is regulation. And with regulation, are a lot of these cryptos going to need to implement kind of the fundamentals for people to see? With regulation, are they going to be required to put out an income statement? I don't know. That's just an interesting thing to think about for the future. But I think we really got off topic on technicals and really moved into fundamentals there.
No, I think that's really important, and I think that kind of brings it back to why technical analysis is so important in this market. Is fundamental analysis. It's not impossible, but it's really, really limited, and so you kind of have to focus on the technicals, because at this point in this early stage of the cryptocurrency lifespan, I think fundamental analysis is just really difficult.
Yeah, I think well said. So good point. And getting back specifically into technicals. So one of the very first things you get into when you get into technical analysis is you see these people flash these charts up on Twitter, and it's got this bird nest of lines on there, and it's got bars going everywhere, candlesticks everywhere. They're using all kind of different crazy terminology. Let's talk about line charts and how they kind of, when you're looking at a line chart, what are some of the fundamental things that you need to be looking for?
Well, I kind of want to say, I know we're going to go over line charts, bar charts, and candlestick charts, but if we're going to get real, you really don't want to use a line chart or a bar chart. We can go through it with you, but it just doesn't show you the information that you're going to get with a candlestick chart. Mm-hmm. A bar chart is a little better. It does show you some of that information, but as a technical reader of a chart, you're never really going to want to use a line chart. You're going to want to do some research into candlesticks and kind of find out what each level of those mean, and then look at the candlestick charts, because you're losing so much information by looking at a line chart or a bar chart. So I would say let's kind of,
Well, that's good information. I mean, for anybody out there, again, newbies, you're starting out, you got into cryptos for the right reasons. You're looking at line charts, you're looking at bar charts, throw them in the garbage.
Bar charts are just more complicated to read. Like
don't throw them in the garbage. If you have any questions about us, just about them, just hit us up on Twitter or something like that, and we'll answer your question. But focus on the candlesticks. They're going to give you the best information.
Right.
When people talk about candlesticks, I hear people say Japanese candlesticks, or they just call them candlestick charts. Is there a difference between a Japanese candlestick and just a candlestick? Is that two different things, or is that just two names for the same thing?
Two names for the same thing. I think they originated in Japan back when they were trading rice or something. Some gentleman had invented the Japanese candlesticks, which are now what we in the Western world call candlesticks.
Yeah, this is not something that was developed in the last 50 years. This has been around for hundreds and hundreds of years. This is a technical analysis is something that it's an art form and a science, but it's not something new, and it's not something you can learn in a year or 5 years. It takes a lifetime. It's constant learning experience.
Yeah, and I mean, we can go through and try to explain what a candlestick is to you and how, when the open and close and the real body and all the levels of it, but explaining it to you over a podcast is not going to do it justice. You really need to hop on YouTube, hop on Investopedia, or, wherever you like to look at your information, and just, watch a video on it, pull up a picture of it, and just kind of see what each of those levels means, where it closes, where it opens, what the different shadings mean, because one candlestick can tell you so much about a chart. I mean, it's a small level of the chart, but each one has a different meaning as to whether it's bullish or bearish and all this other stuff. The candlesticks alone can tell you so much about one day or minute or hour in a chart.
So true.
Yeah, and I would say take an opportunity to look at multiple YouTube videos. So listen to one person explain candlesticks, watch a 5-minute video, then look at a 20-minute video, and then look at a 45-minute video into a deep dive and learn from different people teaching you different ways. And I think you'll get a better understanding of what candlesticks can indicate and how much data that just a small segment of candlesticks can give you. In terms of deciding whether or not a coin is going to move north or south. So let's talk about trends, basic concepts in technical analysis. So what is support and resistance?
That's complicated to kind of discuss over a podcast, but resistance would be just price reaching a past high. Does that make sense?
Explain it like I'm a fifth grader.
Price has reached, let's say, hypothetically $10. Then price went down to $8. Price has come back up to $10. It's now at a point of resistance once it reaches $10 the second time. All it is you're just seeing where price traders like you and I, we're on there, we're trading, we're saying, okay, price has reached this point before at, let's say, $10, like to further my example from a second ago, and it didn't want to go any higher. So why, as a trader, would I look at that and say, well, it reached $10 at this point, and then it went down. So I don't want to be a buyer there. I want to be a seller, right? Because that's theoretically why support and resistance works. But it doesn't always work, which is why if it breaks one of those levels, it might be a good time to buy if it breaks through resistance, or if support holds, it might be a good time to buy. It can get really complicated, but if I could say one thing about technical analysis, look at it like a child. Don't overcomplicate it, because it can get real complex real fast, and it'll do you no good, because you'll sit there and you'll find one thing that's going to tell you it's bullish. You're going to find another thing that tells you it's bearish, and at the end of the day, you're not going to be able to make a decision. And you still have to make a decision if you want to make any money.
So what's an example of some key indicators that are bullish indicators? So we'll start with bullish, and then we'll go to bear. So if somebody's looking at a chart, they're looking at a candlestick chart, and let's say they went on YouTube, followed the advice of Decentralized Talk, and have kind of got a basic understanding of what's going on in the chart. And they want to look for some indicators now. What are some basic first level indicators, or what's the first indicators that you guys kind of, I'm not going to say mastered. I'm not going to say anybody masters these things, right? But what's the first key indicators for a bullish trend that you were able to identify that was easy? It was palatable for somebody new into it.
Well, where I started was probably where I would say 97% of all traders start, and that's with the moving averages. If you plot two moving averages, a slower period moving average and a faster period moving average, onto a chart. And again, it's a little bit more difficult over a podcast without seeing it. But let's say you have a 10-period moving average and a 30-period moving average. When that 10-period moving average crosses above the 30-period moving average, it's said to be in a bullish trend.
Wait, so just for everybody out there again, because we're talking about, like, you're explaining this to me. So I mean, you say fifth grader, you can call it saying it to a person for dummies. I'll take the position of each of those people. So break down, what is a moving average?
A moving average is just, so I say, for example, the 10-period moving average. That's taking, let's say we're looking at a daily chart. That's taking 10 bars and it's averaging the price over those last 10 periods or those last 10 bars, and it's plotting the line graph for that period.
When you say bar, you're talking about each individual candlestick, right?
Yeah, candlesticks. Sorry. Yeah. So
sure.
Time frame.
And you could be looking at a 1-minute chart. I know some of these day traders, they look at tick charts. I mean, they're looking at charts that as the price changes, they're seeing it right then and there. But most people, I guess, unless you're a day trader, they're looking at maybe 30-minute charts, hour charts, 4-hour charts. But each candle, whatever chart you're looking at, that is a period. So for the 10 period, you're looking at 10 candles. If you're looking at a 30 period, that's 30 candles, which is why you would say the 30 period is a slower moving average, because there's more bars and it takes longer for price to move. Right, because you're averaging a bigger period.
And so tell me if I'm right about this. You would more likely look at a tighter timeline chart, like a 1-minute chart or a 10-minute chart, like you said, for day traders. So these are people who are identifying trends that can vanish almost instantly. So you kind of catch them, they come in, and then they move out. But for a lot of people who are probably getting into the space, and a lot of hodlers, right? So hodling obviously is popular in the crypto space. We see a lot of people looking for places to kind of buy and hold. And so they would be looking at maybe the daily, the weekly, the monthly, or year-to-date chart.
Right. If you're looking to hold, and I'm sure you guys all have an opinion on this. If you're looking to hold, if it's me, I'm looking at a weekly or a monthly chart for sure. I want to see is if we're talking about the moving averages, if we're analyzing a chart using the 10-period moving average and the 30-period moving average, now we're looking at weekly bars instead of hourly bars or daily bars or 30-minute bars. So it's going to give you, if you get that crossover, that 10 crosses over that 30, at that level, that's a good buy. When it crosses over, the 10 over the 30.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Okay, so Hesto, tell me. So I know you do a little bit of TA stuff. So
let's focus on the little bit part.
So no, that's perfect. I think because people who are just getting on board, and we're talking about back to basics today. What's the first bullish key indicator that you really felt comfortable with? The one that you could look at a chart and say, "Oh shit, there it is. I see it." That's a what?
I mean, I kind of focus on MACD and RSI. I think those are the ones that I look at. MACD.
Yeah, I love their music.
MACD, for anybody out there that doesn't know, which some of the people on this podcast might not even know, it's moving average, convergence, and divergence. But basically, when you see a cross in those, then you can usually see a reversal. RSI, does anybody know what RSI stands for?
Relative Strength Index.
There you go. So that's a good indicator of seeing if something is overbought or oversold. If it goes over about 60 on a RSI, then it's overbought, and you can anticipate a drop down in the price. If it's below 40, then usually it's oversold, and you can anticipate the price to go up. So I don't usually use more than 2 indicators. I also like to look at the moving cost average, but I don't do that much technical analysis. So I even though fundamental analysis is hard in the industry, I kind of try to focus on the company and try to see their long-term aspects instead of focusing on technical analysis, honestly.
Yeah, I'm very similar. Prater, I know that you're getting deeper and deeper, and you've actually kind of started a like a self course, you call it, right? And you probably call it like a self course on TA.
I suppose you could call it that.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that's what everybody
spare time
does
course.
nowadays. Yeah, spare time course. Well, that's the best education that you can get, is the education where you're going out and grabbing it yourself. But so you're starting to get deeper into TA stuff. When you look for a trend, what are the key indicators that you look for most, or maybe it's a better question is which ones do you find to be the easiest to identify?
Well, honestly, the ones they were all just talking about, MACD, RSI, the Bollinger Bands.
Bollinger?
Sorry?
It's Bollinger?
Bollinger, I apologize.
I thought we already settled this debate.
I've recently tried to dive into the Ichimoku's cloud. I like to use it. It's very complicated, but I have a issue trying to find resistance levels sometimes, and it's built into it. So that might be one for people to check out, although I will say it's rather complicated. And then recently, I'm probably a little too all over the place right now. I need to probably focus in on a couple of them, and I think that's kind of the best advice Lemmons gave me, and I haven't followed yet, is to focus in on one, really master it, and then go on to the next one. Because I'm just kind of like, oh, this one's cool. So is this one. Let's take a look at that. And I'm spreading myself too thin and not really learning enough about one in particular. Because another one that really interests me is the Elliott wave theory, which probably two of the more complicated ones out there. But just the concepts in all of them are, really interesting. And it's hard to kind of sometimes focus myself and be like, oh, I really need to learn this. Instead, I'm like, wow, this is really cool. And this is really cool. And let me take a little bit of that. And it's not really working out for me right now. So I may need to reestablish myself and kind of focus in on a few.
No, man, I think a lot of people feel that way.
Yeah.
Elliott wave theory,
Alan
Parsons project, these are all these important key indicators.
Just being honest, I'm scatterbrained right now.
No, I know a lot of people get like that because it is overwhelming. I mean, like we were talking about earlier, when you just see when you see these bird nest charts, it's there's a lot going on. It's just a massive amount of data that you can get from one chart, and people scribble all over it and they write notes, and it's easy to. I think it's easy to get kind of too decentralized, if that's possible, right? With your education on charts.
Me personally, a couple of months ago, I tried to get into technical analysis, and I read a few books on the subject. And honestly, I left more confused than I started.
Yeah,
there's so much that goes into it. It's not something that you could just learn in a month. It really isn't. It's impossible. It's a lifelong lesson that you have to teach yourself, and it's a learning experience for life, honestly, if you really want to get into it.
Well, so I'll tell you guys, for me, what I do is I look for flags, right? Pennants. And so this is like, for me, this is like the most, so this is the most basic things that because I don't do TA trading, but I do try to balance the small bits of TA that I think I understand with what I'm buying and selling based on market feel. And that's probably not a real safe way to do it, is by feel in the market, but it's been decent so far. But I think that one of the easiest things that you can look for in a chart for me is that when you see the buying and selling really, really high, and then really, really low, and then really, really high, and then really, really low, and then just a little bit less high, and then a little bit less low, and you'll see that that the chart kind of whittles itself into what they call a flag shape or a pennant shape. There's big wide trends on the left side, and as it moves right on the chart, it gets tighter and tighter and tighter and tighter and tighter into the point of the pennant, into the point of the flag. And as it gets tighter in there, that means that the pressures are getting higher, right? We call it the pressures, and it's either going to burst up or it's going to burst down. You don't really know what it's going to be. And a safe bet, and Lemmons, you can tell me if you feel like you agree this is a safe bet, is that once it gets in that tight pennant, if you watch where it kind of starts to go first, then you can take advantage of a high probability that it's going to continue significantly in that direction, whether it's up or down.
I absolutely agree. And I like the way you worded that, a high probability. It's not a guarantee,
Right.
but it's a very high probability.
Cool.
Yeah, honestly, that's my main takeaway from technical analysis is that it's not an exact science. Even though it's been around for a long time, it is not an exact science. What it is just a tool to help you, be better at investing. But it's not something that you can guarantee it's going to go up if this happens or that happens. It's just a helpful tool by looking at indicators that have happened in the past. This usually happens, or this usually doesn't happen. It's just something that can help you. It's not something that you can learn and be like, oh, if it crosses right here, it's definitely going to go up. No, it might go down, and that happens a lot of times. I think the main thing is that it's just a tool for your arsenal that will, help you in the future.
A Batman tool belt.
Exactly. It's a utility belt, by the way.
Get it right.
Yeah.
Get it right.
I was thinking of Wreck-It Ralph. What's the builder?
Yeah. So speaking of probability, and we talked about the high probability of the coin moving one direction or another, there's another industry in America that's booming that is fundamentally focused on probability, and that is the gambling industry, right? So that brings us to our coin focus of the day. And our coin focus of the day is gambling coins. So we're going to talk about Funfair, Edgeless, Zero Edge, Astra Game, Ethereum, which just sounds like you having a lisp and you're saying Ethereum. We're talking about Peer Plays. We're talking about Beatrium. We're talking about Grand Digital, and we're talking about No Limit Coin. So real quick, we're going to do a focusing on this space for you guys and help you understand a little bit more about what gambling coins are out there. Prater, you want to take us off?
Sure. We probably won't talk about all those coins. Those are just kind of some examples of the ones that are out there and ones that we found interesting. So obviously gambling is a huge industry. I mean, in the U.S. and worldwide. And then you take online gambling, which has been booming over the last few years. I mean, 2015, it was a $37 billion market. And then it's projected to be $60 billion plus by 2020. And that's just the online gambling market. That doesn't account for all the casinos out there. People love to gamble. So it's a great space for crypto to kind of break into, especially with some of these coins that are, one of the bigger issues with gambling, online gambling, I think, is trust and, legalization. Because, I mean, obviously, I think it's still illegal to online gamble in the United States in most states. But trust is a big one because a lot of these online gambling sites aren't regulated by any regulating party, I guess the best way to put it. And, when they're using the Ethereum blockchain or these other blockchains that allow full visibility of their casino, what you're getting on your bets. Does what house edge each one of these slot machines or, the whole site has. So it's really interesting. And I think there's a lot of growth potential in the space in general.
If I can just go off of how large the market is, 2017, the gambling market in the U.S., and this isn't just U.S. gambling, this is casinos and everything, it accounted for 0.91% of the U.S. GDP. And considering the U.S. GDP is $18.57 trillion, it's a pretty big industry. I think the reason that we're doing the coin focus a little differently this week is because in the crypto space, there's so many coins in this gambling industry that it's hard to hone in on just one, honestly. They're all kind of even, and they all do similar things. So we're kind of just taking a deep dive on all of them in general, the whole gambling market, as a whole.
Yeah, and there's a couple of coins that do a few different things. Like one that was pretty interesting is Funfair, and I know it's been around. It's probably one of the most popular, but it actually allows you to build your own casino, from what it sounds like, which is a pretty interesting concept.
Yeah, hey, everybody out there listening, make sure you go check out the Decentralized Talk Podcast Casino. You can play your blackjack, you can play your craps, and your poker, all that stuff. You know, go on there and check it out.
We are not a zero edge or a zero house edge.
No, house takes all.
I don't have a lot to add on the gambling coins, but I guess as an outsider, looking in at, or just as let's say a civilian, for lack of a better word, anytime I go to a casino or anytime I gamble online, and I know you've all mentioned the trust factor, but every time I walk out of that casino, I play some computerized game, or definitely online, I play some computerized game. And the first thing that comes to my mind is, how was that rigged? How was that rigged against me so that I was pretty much guaranteed to fail?
That's the problem. That's the problem is the house. I mean, there's a probability factor, obviously, with all casinos, but there's also that edge factor. And when you're talking about computerized gambling with slot machines and things like that, that house is going to have an edge. They manipulate those machines, whether you like it or not. Those machines are being manipulated so the house will win more times than not.
Right.
And, there's regulation in place where they can only manipulate it to a certain extent, but they're still manipulating it so that they win more times than not. And that's just the sad truth out there. And what blockchain and cryptocurrencies can bring to solve that problem is complete transparency. And I think that's why the gambling industry could really, really use something like blockchain and cryptocurrencies to solve that trust factor.
Absolutely. I agree.
And two of the bigger gambling coins that are basically zero house edge are edgeless and zero edge, from what it sounds like.
Great names, by the way.
Yeah. I see a
they didn't beat around the bush there.
No edge coin, edgeless. The edge is gone.
No more edge.
The end of edge.
Another one I found pretty interesting was the Aster game. I think it was one that we mentioned in there. And the one thing, I mean, obviously they offer esports betting and online gaming platforms, just, the whole casino thing. But they also offer gaming betting, which is kind of interesting because I know, games are a big thing right now. So if you can hop on and bet on your FIFA or your Madden or your Halo.
Wow.
That's a pretty interesting concept.
Yeah, we keep people talking so much shit out there. Because, right now you can basically just talk as much shit as you want, and there's no repercussions for this. But once you start investing your money and putting it up on the blockchain, and then everybody can go back, 10 years and see, like, nah, actually, you're not that good, player.
You got played.
You got played. Yeah. Yeah, it's cool, man. I would love to be able to put some money on the line. Put some currency on the line for like a game of Halo.
I wouldn't. I would get demolished.
Well, it just depends on how quickly I got that shotgun.
No.
I would probably get demolished in Halo, but you don't want to fuck with me in Madden.
But that's beneficial to the gaming market as well, because, I mean, that's only going to drive competition between these serious gamers. I mean, the ripple effect starts to take a, there's other parties that have an interest in this.
And the gamers who think they're badass and really aren't.
I mean,
yeah, really.
Like,
I mean, that hey, you gotta watch your mouth, son. I think that brings a whole nother aspect into it, because now we're not just talking about, the gambling industry and casinos, but there's a whole professional gaming industry, professional video gamers. And there's a name for it. It's not NFL. I don't know what it's called, but professional gaming, is a thing, and it's a huge industry. They have like real competitions where people play video games and compete against each other in huge arenas. Like, that's real, and I bet a bunch of our listeners know a lot more about it than I do. But to have that in a
Yeah, somebody has this on in the background of their StarCraft game right now.
yeah while
I can tell you right now, as
Yeah.
soon as the podcast is over, I'm going to Walmart. I'm going to buy a PlayStation 4. I'm going to buy some Astra Coin, and I'm going to log on and take Heston's money.
Yeah, and they're probably streaming it on Twitch, which is, getting us even more listeners. So, but those professional gamers, like to have something where you can compete against other gamers, but not use the traditional methods and use a decentralized currency, like is a great use case for that.
Exactly, it takes basically online poker to the gaming world. Because all these professional poker players who are playing professional poker online and, taking all of our money who are on there playing, basically it's going to bleed over into the gaming market and they're going to do the exact same thing.
Yeah, and I think also it's gonna really purify things because think about something like NASCAR where you got every car is just plastered in advertisements from beginning to end, right, from bumper to bumper, and if you could have an individual like a gamer compete just for themselves, they're literally just competing on a game that they like to play for themselves, not on a game that's necessarily sponsored by somebody else. They don't have to shill and tell everybody how much they like some brand of peanut butter before they get into their Halo tournament. That's going to be really neat. People will be able to actually make this is the same thing we were talking with Dee about a couple episodes back. People are going to be able to have a real career and make a real career and make real money playing video games and doing things like this and publishing it on the internet for people to watch. It's going to be really neat.
Oh, I mean, people are already making careers out of that. I mean, look at Twitch. People are, definitely making.
I don't know, what is Twitch? I don't know what that is.
Twitch is just where you play video games and stream it.
Yeah.
It's like
YouTube
it's like the YouTube for gaming industry.
And does it already have crypto? Is it like an interface with crypto? Like you can tip people or something?
No. It's just it's just YouTube.
But they're just making money in tournaments and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. They make money.
For views.
For views, yeah.
I see.
It's the YouTube for gaming, and I mean, I'm not a huge gamer anymore, but I was for a long time, and I definitely watch some people on Twitch. So no, Twitch is huge.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Just gaming anymore. I've seen a bunch of other stuff on Twitch too.
Yeah, and I remember, maybe I'm showing my age here, but I remember
dinosaurs.
First printing press.
What is that YouTuber that was huge?
Thomas Jefferson.
Oh, PewDiePie.
PewDiePie. Yeah, I remember when PewDiePie came out, and he was one of the first to really gain notoriety from this, like, I'm playing a video game and you can watch me play a video game. And I remember thinking at the time, like, why would anybody want to watch somebody else play a video game? Why not just play the video game yourself? But I watched PewDiePie for a little bit, and it is somewhat entertaining. So I get it. I definitely get it. Now, how that ties into cryptocurrencies, I don't know. We'll see in the future. But I think the main takeaway is, like, the gaming industry is, like, huge. It's not going anywhere. So any crypto that comes out that's focusing on the gaming industry, they probably got a bright future, honestly.
Well, I don't have a dollar figure, but I imagine the gaming industry is $1 billion industry, multi-billion.
Multi-billion.
For sure.
For sure.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Things like Astra Game are only going to throw, or platforms like Astra Game are only going to throw fuel on that fire, and then you start to have different markets kind of coming together. You got the cryptocurrencies intertwined into a mainstream market like video games, and suddenly things start to take off from there.
I know you said you didn't have a number, but yeah, about $91 billion. So
There you go.
I was going to say.
I have a number for you guys, and that number is 3, because it's time for our 3 on 3 fast break. All right, that's when each week we pick 3 coins from the 300 level market cap and make our pitch for that coin. So for our new viewers, what this means is that we're going to give you an overview of the coin. We're going to talk about the price. We're going to talk about the market cap, the supply, tell you a little bit about what it does. We're going to try to do this in under 3 minutes, and we're going to try to see if it has any potential for the future. So at random this week, I'm going to pick Mr. Dustin Prater to tell you about Decent Bet.
All right, I'm glad you picked me first because I know all of us picked gambling coins this week, and at least I get first shot at it. So I picked Decent Bet this week. It's 10 cents a coin. It has a market cap of 12 million, a circulating supply of 120 million, a total supply of 177 million, and their website is decent.bet. And they're basically an online gambling platform. They released their testnet in Q4 of 2017. So they actually have a platform online right now. They're planning on releasing an iOS app in Q2 of 2018. I guess I could have explained it a little more, but there's not too much to explain. We've been talking about gambling coins all day, and it is just a gambling coin website. You hop on, you gamble, you can play cards, you can play casinos. You do have to use their coin to gamble on the website. So you have to use DBet, I think is the coin name. And you can get that with Ethereum, however you want. You can play craps, roulette. Any kind of gambling you want to do, you can do it there. And I thought it was interesting. A lot of, the online gambling sites don't have apps. So they're actually going to put out an app here pretty quick. They're claiming it's Q2 of 2018. That'll be interesting because I know anybody else who's tried to play a little cards on their phone and you're trying to use the mobile website, it usually doesn't work out very well. I don't see anything on here. One thing I didn't like is I don't see anything how there is zero edge platform. So I'm guessing you can probably look and see what their edge is. They'll provide all the betting lines. They say you can sports bet as well. Any questions? I got a minute left.
Win Lambo.
I might have already Lamboed. I don't know. You should have got in already. No. Can't really tell you that, Esto. Do some technicals
I'm out.
I have no more questions about this coin. Are you going to buy it? Hey, so are you really going to buy this coin?
Maybe.
Do they have hey, I got a question. Do they have a working product?
Yeah. They released it in Q1. The mainnet has been released.
Okay, so I can gamble with this right now if I wanted to.
So it says on their website. I haven't actually been on the website to gamble with it.
I'm sorry, but your time is up, sir.
Yeah.
All right. Hesto's got no limit coin. It's at 9 cents. Tell me what you got. Time starts now.
All right, no limit coin. NLC2 is their ticker, right? Yeah, right now it's at 9 cents. Their website is nolimitcoin.org. Currently in market cap of 18 million. Circulating supply of 205 million. They don't have a total supply because there's no pre-mined coins. So 205 million is also their total supply. I like No Limit Coin. I've been watching them for a while now. But I recently went on their platform and actually started using it. And I got to tell you, it's fun as hell. So not only can you – it's a fantasy gambling coin for fantasy sports. So you can bet on fantasy sports like football. They got soccer, hockey, basketball, MMA, cricket. But what I thought was the most interesting thing is that you can bet on coins. So you can create your little team. Say we got together, we created the Decentralized Talk team, and we went on there and we bet that Litecoin was going to moon next week. And, people would bet against us or with us, whatever they want to do. but it's just like fantasy, but instead of a sport, you're playing with the crypto market. I thought that was awesome. I think it's a great idea. So they do have a working product. You can go on cryptofantasysports.com and you can trade with your no limit coins. It is proof of stake, which is really good. If you do stake your coins in one of their official wallets, you get 4% interest on their coins. I mean, in the stock market, sometimes you can't even hit 4%. Now, I would say usually you're going to hit more than 4%, but just for staking your coins, you're getting 4%. They have near instant transactions, low transaction fees. Each transaction costs 0.0001 no limit coins. And I just got to say their platform is awesome. Not just that, not just their platform, but their CEO. That guy is a great dude. I watched an interview he did with Joe Theismann. He's one of their advisors and investors. And I guess he talked to Joe Theismann a while ago and got him on the project a couple years ago. And he called Joe Theismann live on one of these YouTube videos that I was watching. And he was crying. He was so happy that they had raised $50 million. And I don't know, it was just so genuine that I fell in love with that CEO. He's a great guy. I think the product's great. I like fantasy sports. I'm a huge fantasy football guy. So no limit coin, I like it a lot. I definitely like it a lot.
5 seconds left. Would you bet no limit coin against Prater in John Madden football?
Every day of the week.
Did you cry with Theismann?
Of course.
We all cry when Joe cries.
When Joe cries, you cry. All right, awesome. All right, so my coin is Funfair. So I made a mistake this week. It is not in the 300 level market cap, so technically it is not it is technically not a 3-on-3. But if you're interested in another gambling coin, Funfair is actually really cool. Prater talked about it a little bit at the beginning of the previous segment. It is a platform by which you can make your own gambling software, your own gambling games. People can play your games, people can demo them out and play them for free, and then they can actually take the coin directly out of their wallet. The coin is called Fun, so when you're spending it, you're actually spending fun, and when you make it, you actually make fun, which is pretty neat. The website is funfair.io. Market cap is $191 million. Circulating supply is 4 billion fun, and total supply is 10 billion fun. How much time do I got left? Oh, that's not bad. Minute left. Okay. So one of the things that they pride themselves on is that it's one of the safest of the gaming coins that you can get. There's no deposit, no withdrawal. So everything comes directly. It's played literally in and out of your wallet. Also, if you go to their website, the website's really well done. The executives are not, so this is something different in the crypto space. The executives are not like 19-year-old hackers looking. So many of these coins, one of the problems that I have is that the chief executive officer is younger than I am. And I'm thinking, God, man, I mean, I'm sure he's a really brilliant guy, but maybe this is not the best like idea to trust them with an entire company or trust them with my money. So these guys they're older guys, and you can tell they've got experience in the casino industry, which is important to me. So you can come at all these things in the blockchain from the casino perspective, and then add blockchain to it. Or you can come from the technology side and add the casino side to it. These guys are casino people. That means they're gaming people. That means they've been in the gaming industry, and it gives them an ability to find out what it is that people have wanted in the past, right? You know, the gaming industry is highly data-driven. And so what they're doing here is they're finding a way to use blockchain technology to make sure that you and similar to the other coins, re-engage the trust factor based on the open ledger, right? Based on the blockchain, so that you know that the money that's going in is the money that's going out, and that the game that you're playing is not going to be taking more than really their share, right, of the money for having created the game. And it still gives you the fun factor. I've got 6 seconds. Any questions?
Yeah. Can I create a casino on Funfair?
Yes, anybody can create a casino on Funfair.
You're out of time, brother.
All right. Okay. So time is up for me on that, which is not fun. With another thing that's not fun is being in second place on our Coin of the Week challenge.
I'm having so much fun on this Coin of the Week challenge, guys.
Yeah, Hesto had a really great week.
Chisholm in the pants.
When I win, everybody loses, and then when everybody wins, I lose.
Yeah, that is a weird phenomenon. When Prater, you won the last 3 weeks in a row?
I won the last 3 weeks, and nobody made money. I got last this week.
Well, yeah, you're the king of the losers.
Except for me.
Yeah, the Empire of Dirt.
Exactly.
And now the market's turned back around. Hesto had a really great lucky pick on EOS, which was really nice. EOS moved up about 43.5% over the course of the last week. We all made money. So out of $100 investment last week, I invested in Cardano, depending on what part of the country you're from. And I made $112 off a $100 investment. And Hesto made $143. And Prater made $105. So $5.43 and $12 wins. Guys, what is your coin for week 11?
I've got Ether this week. I'm hoping to get a big rebound. A lot of the coins have gone back up some, and Ether's kind of just traded flat for a while. So I'm hoping they get that kind of bounce that I guess I'm kind of stealing Heston's strategy from last week. I didn't realize that until right now, but it just hadn't had its bounce back yet that everybody else kind of got. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully I can make up some ground here, because when I'm winning, I'm losing, and when I'm losing, I'm losing. So I'm just losing right now.
Hopefully those fundamentals from Ethereum from the top of the show, hopefully those pay off for you.
Well, I'll tell you right now, you stole my damn pick. I wanted Ethereum for the same reason I picked EOS. I mean, Ethereum, oh my God, I can't believe it's back down to $523. That's just insane.
From almost $1,000 or a little bit over $1,000,
over
right?
$1,000, yeah. I remember it was back at $1,300. Yeah. So, yeah, I like that pick. But there's one pick that I like better than that, and that's my pick, and that's OMG. OMG down to $10.93 right now. I think it stabilizes at about 15. I think that's a good support level for Omisego, and so I see it picking back up by the end of the week. And by the time we record this again, I think it's going to be about 15, 16. So I'm fairly confident in that. Nice dollars. The greenbacks.
All right, I picked Verge. Verge is at 4. Yeah, I wish I would have. I should have picked Tether like the last 11 weeks, and then I'd be up. I'd be in first place. So I picked Verge. It's at 4 cents right now. I think the most attractive thing to me about Verge is that it has a generally upsloping trend over the course of the last 3 months. But it has faced a significant dip recently, and it's one of the higher dips in the last 24 hours. So for a Sunday pick, Sunday is the time that we're doing the record on the show. Sunday pick, general uptrend, little down dip, looking pretty tasty to me. So out of $1,000 investment so far, in first place, Heston has $950 on the weekly chart. I got $891 out of $1,000 investment, and Prater is at $886 at $1,000 investment. In the HODL chart is if you've been following the show and you've stayed invested. In other words, you didn't sell at the end of each week to buy the next coin. What would you have? So I am in dead last place at $600 for $1,000 investment, which is indicative of the market, really. And let's see, Hesto's in first place once again at $723. He just highlighted that in green on our chart, which is nice. And Prater's in second place in the HODL chart for $675. So that means his overall picks are actually about medium versus his weekly picks. Alrighty, guys, that about does it for us today and wraps up this episode of the D. Be sure to tune in next week where we highlight various investment strategies like DCA. And we're going to be implementing a Bitcoin giveaway to one lucky commenter. That means we're going to be giving away 0.002 Bitcoin to one lucky random user for the first episode on YouTube to get 20 comments. Be sure to check us out and send comments at DTalk Podcast on Twitter and Facebook, and Decentralized Talk on iTunes, Google Play, and iHeartRadio. Links to the website in the description below. As always, guys, stay decent.